Oh, bonjour et bienvenue Café avec Etienne. Ladies and gentlemen, good to have you. As you can see, I am not broadcasting from my chambers like I normally do. Today, President's Day, I am at home. Sandy is diligently typing away on her computer, and of course, I am annoying her by simply having coffee and making a video. That being said, today's blog, or rather this week's blog, is entitled Oral Arguments. As many of you know that have been following along in our caseload, we have been aging a federal case for a significant amount of time. Anyways, we finally reached the sentencing position of this case about a week and a half ago. And something kind of interesting took place. Many people wonder whether or not at an oral argument stage where not that you're trying to convince a jury about something, that's entirely separate. Now we're talking about trying to convince a judge, or in some cases, a panel of judges on a particular thing that you're looking to achieve. Now, normally, a tremendous amount of argumentation takes place prior to oral arguments through written documentation. One side files a motion to have the court rule in a particular way. The other side responds to that motion with an argument to the contrary. Then the first party files a response to the other party's original motion, and it goes back and forth and back and forth. And the judge or judges collects all of this information. Now, keep in mind, this information is being generated without a time constraint attached to it. Well, that's not entirely accurate. There are, in fact, time constraints. You do have to file in a timely manner, but we're talking about, days and weeks rather than seconds with a judge actually peppering you with questions. So the argumentation is well thought out. It's reasoned. It's fulsome. And you're not just citing to, some general concept. You're actually able to cite to a specific case authority or a specific statute. So as a result, the arguments that are generated through written documentation tend to be better. Well, that begs the question then, if you're going to sit there and submit all of your arguments via paper, what's the point of oral arguments at all? And by the way, this is something that has confounded lawyers for a couple of centuries now, because there really isn't a reason per se. Now, there is the opportunity for a hot bench, meaning sort of an assertive judge, to question the advocates behind the podium as to arguments that they made in their briefs. And that's perfectly acceptable, and that may very well give the advocate the opportunity to sort of illuminate as to what they were trying to communicate. But it's pretty odd that you're actually able to alter a judge's opinion simply during the oral arguments. To a large extent, the decision has already been made. So a lot of us look at oral arguments as sort of a form of kabuki theater, really, more of a just sort of a pro forma, a performative piece that is really done primarily for the benefit of the client. Well, we had oral arguments in this case at sentencing, and believe it or not, the oral arguments actually were persuasive. The judge had originally had a mindset that he was going to be providing a much more substantial penalty to our client, and due to oral arguments, that was departed down extremely significantly. So anyways, I do hope you read the blog, and as always, train constantly, train consistently, train repetitively, and train with purpose. And above all else, stay safe.